Kisses to Kitty Purry, and a Two Stupid Dogs channel. What's going on? Are you ready to learn some things about ourselves, and more importantly, about good old me? Let's go upstairs. Let's talk about it. Let's learn some stuff. All right, so self-diagnosis night came from me thinking about back when we did the autism quiz last year, and I thought, maybe I'd like to do that again. And then I thought, we already did that, so why would I do it again? I mean, there is the opportunity to do it a second time. Roar's gay. No one is less surprised than Roar or Kitty Purry. Are you gonna stream for my birthday? I have I have the calendar for like 4 months in advance. You could see what I'm going to be streaming. Anyways, tomorrow's Friday. I actually was thinking about streaming tomorrow, like during the day. I don't usually stream on Friday. I was thinking about playing Star Wars Dark Forces. Not even a happy birthday? It's not your birthday yet. Gonna update something real fast. Wow, that ruins it if I have monitor capture on. Just going to Pompoko. We'll talk about it later. Happy birthday early, but yeah, it's not your birthday yet. I don't like doing it early because then it's like, well, then what happens tomorrow? Are we gonna do it again? No, I want to do it right the first time. God damn it! Are you ready to take a personality quiz? Let's talk about this. So this is based on the Miggs-Breyer test. It has 80 questions, and a lot of these questions tend to be... How have you been, Sprawl? What's going on? Have you had a nice summer? How's your wife? How old is our big boy? Hold on. Here, in case... You know what? Here, I'll do you one better, Sprawl. In case for some reason, I die tomorrow before I say happy birthday, you can have this. Happy birthday to you. It's not summer for another 9 days. Listen. Summer is more about how you feel in your heart. Before you take this test, take some time to think about your answers. The questions are designed to make you think about the way your mind acts in everyday situations. The only way to answer without bias is to reflect deeply. Take the time to figure out the answer that best applies to you. What test are you taking? Can you take it along? Sure, this is the Misty Penis Investigator, apparently. Here you go. Feel free. Take your time to... Don't lie to yourself. Answer honestly without trying to exploit results. A bias test has no significance to your personality research. This test is based on sliders. In order to keep your answers balanced and to avoid biases of some kind, review your selections from the beginning once you've answered all 80 questions. If you have trouble answering a question because you find yourself in the middle, it's fine to leave the slider there. Both sides of the question don't necessarily go against each other. So, I have all these questions. Some of these are really cumbersome in their wording, So I decided to sacrifice some jellyfish, and the devil has some layman's terms over here on the right for these questions. These are obviously the questions we're going to answer, but in case we need a second viewpoint of what the question's trying to say, here they are over on this side. I'm gonna take a quick drink. Two. All right, first question. Feel free to play along if you like. This is like supposedly along the Meigs-Bryer test of the personality type. When making a decision, I mostly rely on either facts or experiences that prove my points, or my own explanations and theories to prove my points. I prefer... This one's hard. This one's difficult because I feel like I do... The first question, I'm already stumped. I feel like I prefer to go by facts and experiences more than I do the own explanations and theories to prove a point. So I feel like I prefer to base my opinions on facts when I can. I'm not, stupid. Some things definitely I prefer my own explanations, but for the most part, I prefer facts and experiences. I find it easier to understand something by broader explanations. I'm good at reading between the lines and finding the gaps of missing information, or being given the data and forming my own conclusions and observations based on what I already know. So, do I prefer to get the big picture explanation and fill in the blanks myself, or do I prefer to see the data and figure it out using what I already know? I really prefer... If I really want to understand something, I really prefer this direction over here. I really prefer being given the data based on what I know. I prefer to have it influence what I know being given proper information. Why isn't Roar just having the AI tell him what diseases I have? I could, but I think it would be stupid wrong. Don't worry, it's helping, but not very much. These questions aren't quite as cumbersome as I thought. Hi, Glorp. I usually tend to give a personal meaning to something I experience or find my own explanation to something I observe. I don't understand this question. I usually tend to give a personal meaning to something I experience or find my own explanation to something I observe. I think, given these two options, I don't understand the question. I guess both. I do tend to give personal meaning to things, but not. I don't understand the question entirely. I think it's somewhere around the middle. I find it hard to openly express my inner self, or may become overly critical during stress, or assert my own needs, may overanalyze things during stress. Do I tend to get too self-critical, or do I tend to overthink? When I get really stressed, I tend to overthink. I don't tend to get critical. When I'm really stressed, I prefer to focus hard and knuckle down. Like I really don't get critical of myself. I'm just like, okay, it's time to focus. It's time to move forward. I don't really get critical. I get critical after the fact. Like once the stress is over, then I think back like, how could I have done that less stupidly? That's usually how my life works. I tend to explore existential reflections with an impersonal approach or with personal involvement. In a logical or detached way, or in a personal and emotional way, 1000% personal involvement. Usually, if I get existential, it is 100% what's going to happen to the meat sack that is my body. That's usually how existential questions go. My perception of reality is constantly changing and evolving, or fixed until my knowledge about it is upgraded. Isn't that kind of the same thing? Always changing or shifting, or staying the same? Like every day? Does my perception of reality change a lot? Not really. No, it's relatively fixed until I get more information. I would say, like, for the most part, I'm pretty set in my perception of reality. I tend to add new knowledge to my understanding by applying general principles to existing data or unconsciously connecting the dots. Do I use general rules and apply them to what I see, or do I make connections without even realizing it? I think I tend to unconsciously connect. I think, like, the best way of learning is by finding something that really interests you. And once you find something that interests you, you can usually springboard off of that into other topics that you've never even thought about. That's how you learn, in my opinion. If you're not interested in learning, you ain't gonna learn. Like, for real talksies, you're not gonna learn if you don't want to learn. I tend to lose cognition of time and space by... What the fuck? I tend to lose track of time while daydreaming or imagining possibilities, or get caught up in what's happening around me through my senses. Neither of those are super clear. Do I tend to... speculating on what's possible? Or do I end up getting absorbed in the stream of sensory perceptions? What is this a Jim Crow literacy test? Supposed to be daydreaming on the left. It's like, do I daydream a lot, or am I absorbed in the stream of sensory? I guess both, kinda. I tend to lean more towards daydreaming, but I'm still very much in the present for the most part. I'm waiting for a Pom Poko channel to be just straight up testicles. It hasn't happened yet. I think this was translated from another language. It seems like a relatively competent test from what I've seen from the results page. I did like a random answers test, and it looked pretty interesting at the end, but who knows? I'll have to see it with actual results. I tend to explore the wider meaning. I have other tests too, by the way. This isn't the only test, but it is 80 questions, so we'll see. I tend to explore the wider meaning behind the actual reality that's in front of me, leading towards inner reflection, or the many possibilities offered by the world and how I can relate them to my own experiences. I look for deeper meaning in what's right in front of me? Not really. No, I tend to explore the wider meaning of the entire world. Honestly, like if I had to pick between the two, over here on the left is the layman's terms, and I'm like, I think I get what it's trying to say. Like, are you more interested in finding out like what you see every day, or the wide openness of the world kind of thing? I don't know. I could be misreading that, but I think it's more towards the right on that one. I'm more tempted to accept a theory if it's backed up by concrete proof, or if it makes logical sense to me personally. If it's backed up by concrete proof, obviously. What do you mean? If it's backed up, well, I'll take a few points off of that, because concrete proof is not necessarily as concrete as time has led people to believe. But for the most part, yeah, if it's backed up by proof, that's the theory that makes the most sense. During reasoning, I come to my conclusions sequentially. Then I test them to see if they apply to the situation. Or you naturally come to the conclusion first based on the available data and verify the results. Doesn't matter, germs ain't real. I wonder if that's kind of what they're thinking. Like, I think most people who think more with their emotions would lean towards the right on that. You tend, I think, step by step and then test the ideas, or you jump to a conclusion first and then test if it's right. Definitely more towards the right. I definitely tend to come to a conclusion first based on the data I have and then test it out. Now, that said, I usually end up changing my thoughts based on the tests, but for the most part, no, I choose to go a little bit over towards the right. When making a choice, you won't compromise my own integrity or what makes sense to me, even if others don't agree. When choosing something, I won't compromise what makes sense to me, even if others don't agree. I will make choices that don't necessarily make sense to me. It's like some things, even though they don't necessarily make sense why I should have to do them, I don't know. Like, for the most part, some things you just have to do in life. And even if it doesn't make sense to you, you still should do them. Like things in work, things in just life in general. It was the same thing. You think the concrete proof one is about magical thinking? Could be. I had an enjoyable experience. I tend to appreciate it as it is, or appreciate it for the meaning it brings to me. After a fun experience, I tend to enjoy it just as it was, or I think about the deeper meaning it had for me. Typically, I tend to appreciate it for what it was. I don't appreciate the deeper meaning, or I don't understand that one. I just appreciate the for what it was. Your integrity isn't seeking approval for those around you. Well, it's not. I don't even care. It's not about the approval of those around me, regardless. I don't give a shit about people's opinion. Like, if it's something that I need to do, if it's a part of a choice for me. No way it was written in English. Here's the. Here you can look at that and you can see if you can learn anything based on that. I can't push buttons. You get out. You don't even get a train. When I finish my work and present it to others, I tend to appreciate other people's recognition, and I may feel bad if it doesn't match my expectations or the objective quality of my work, and I may distrust the judgment if it's okay. When I show my work to others, I care more about how others react, and it bothers me if they don't like it, or the quality of my work itself, even if others don't get it. 1,000%. Maybe 99%. I tend to appreciate, if I put something out into the world to be appreciated as art, am I going to lie? I tend to prefer other people to appreciate the art I put out. I try to, I hope to. Like, the quality of my work obviously is important, sure, but for the most part, if people are enjoying it, that's the important thing. How would you describe your creative process? I strive to give shape to my own mental wanderings. Okay, nerd. I tend to draw inspiration from the little things that impress me and then transform them into something new and magical. My creative style, I think I would tend to lean more towards the right. Like, if I saw something really interesting, like a neat project or something, like I watched some stream of somebody doing something really neat, it would be like, you know what? I could probably do something like that. I'm not going to steal the idea. That's not even fun. But that gives me potential for all sorts of stuff I could do. I find my greatest value in either the initiation of new ideas or the initiation of new relationships. New connections with people? New relationships with people? No. No, I don't. I'm okay. I'll lean more towards the left on that one. I'm okay with the not having new relationships that affect. I've got plenty of relationships, thank you. I've got the friends. I've got the really important one with Kitty. I've got family. I've got all I need, really. That's all. I'm good. I'm good. I mean, I'm open to making new friends, but it's not necessarily high on my list. I've got lots of friends. I'm happy with my friends. During a conversation, I tend to go straight to the point, or I often find myself going off topic. Excuse me. It really depends on who I'm talking to. really depends on who I'm talking to. Like, if it's anybody other than a very small group of people and maybe the stream, I tend to go straight to the point. But if it's people I enjoy talking to, I could ramble on for hours, and that should come as a surprise to nobody. But for the most, you know what? That's what I'm talking about. Honestly, I'm more towards just the middle here. Like, for the most part, my personality, I tend to get to the point with people. But if it's with friends and family, yeah, definitely. Have I ever looked into actually looked into the Myers-Briggs test? I think I took it once. But I don't remember the results. I think that reality is what can be experienced through our five senses, therefore there is only one. Or, reality is multifaceted and goes beyond the sensory, therefore it's different for everyone. I believe that there's only one reality. What are you talking about? What? I don't believe that. Maybe a very, very small, because nobody knows what other people feel. Like the actual science behind it? No, not particularly. I know that, everything that they purport, it was made up by a mother and daughter in the early 1900s. Okay, yes, but here's the thing about that. I'm going to eat a Cheez-It. If it's horse shit, that's one thing. But if every corporation for a century has been using it as their personality metric, then in a roundabout way, it has made itself relevant. Kinda, hasn't it? Am I wrong on it? I'm not saying that makes it better. But that's how it supposedly gives an interpretation of a person's personality. I don't know. Identities as well. Fair enough. Well, corporations are stupid regardless. I prefer fighting for a shared cause, something that will help my community or the people near me, or being loyal to something, the right thing, what's closer to my beliefs. Those are very different things. I mean, I prefer to go for what is the right thing, I guess. But that doesn't mean I don't want to fight for a shared cause or be, an ally for a shared cause. They're kind of the same thing. I focus on primarily a single point of view and explore it in depth, or multiple points of view as I see potential in each of them. I usually tend to focus on one point of view. It's hard on single point of view. All the way left. That's not all the way left. I can see other points of view. It doesn't mean that, like, if you look at my projects folder, I would be very much fine, just a little bit there. That's the farthest I'm going, because I definitely do look at other points of view, and I do see potential in a lot of different things. I tend to give a personal meaning to my memories, or look at my memories as they are. What a stupid question. What do you mean? When I make up my mind, I'm adamant. It takes me a while to make up my mind, to be fair. I tend to give a personal meaning to my memories, or I look at my memories as they are. I think I'd probably go a little more left on this, but no, for the most part, I don't understand what's different about that. Like, you can attach personal meaning to your memories and look at your memories as they were. They're not mutually exclusive. Terrible channel. How do you look back on to your personal experiences? I primarily judge personal experiences in terms of good or bad, or you try to learn something from each personal experience, even if it's bad or painful. Definitely over to the right. Definitely over towards the right. Not all the way to the right, but I think I don't believe in regret. I don't believe in the idea. I do believe in regret a little bit, but I don't believe in the idea that if you had a time machine and you went back and changed something in your life that you've always wanted to change, that you'd be happier afterwards. Every single experience we've done in our life builds up to what you are, to what we are as a society. If you start changing shit, how are you any different than, the monsters? You know what I mean? I think you know what I mean. In a social situation, I look for human contact and interaction. Whatever the other option is there. Like a peacefully shared atmosphere, or I like to enjoy the moment or have fun and or chill. Yeah, is there any further right this can go? I'm just gonna crank that over here to the right. Human is the real monster. The monster is man. Why is it stuck on the Cricket channel? I think Roar TV is broken. I'm gonna reload the channels. It's been stuck on the Cricket Bluey channel for a while. Every time it goes back. It doesn't matter though. I am driven by an inner vision of a what? My inner vision of a matter or my outer devotion to a matter. What the hell are they talking about? I am driven by my dedication to something or someone outside of myself, or my inner... Okay, I think I'm getting it. Yeah, definitely leaning more towards the left. Not entirely. Not entirely. I'm very internally focused, but definitely not entirely, because no one is an ocean. You hate driving? I think I have already asked about how the public transit is up there. Isn't it not good? I am more prone to walking a beaten and familiar path or pioneering my own path. I'm very, very prone to fall into familiar routines and ruts and patterns. I don't really change things up and swap things up. I tend to do things that have been proven, things that make sense, that sort of thing. I don't know if that makes sense. Makes sense to me. I am fairly independent from the judgment of others or dependent on the judgment of others. On the judgment? Oh, I'm completely independent on the judgment. I could give an ass on how people judge me. There's very few people in the world whose opinion makes a spit of difference to me. And most of them are watching this stream. Far right? No. Not the judgment. It doesn't say anything about adoration. That's why I went to the left. Judgment's a very important word there. You guys judge me all the fucking time. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what people think about me. If it was adoration, that'd be a completely different can of beans. When making a decision, I base my reasoning on tangible proofs and facts that I can take at face value or reliable data and reasonable argument. Tangible, trustworthy data and logical, solid facts and obvious evidence. I prefer... Aren't these both the same? Tangible proof and reliable data? Like, I love data. Data's great. Probably around here, but I like tangible proof too. I don't understand. The left is anecdotes and the ability to see things. Oh, and facts you can take at face value. Yeah, I think I lean more towards the right on that one. When I'm feeling creative, I'm more inspired by ideas that may appear disconnected because I like exploring all of them, or ideas that reveal my sensibility and touch me personally. I tend to get a whole bunch of disconnected ideas. My sketch pad, my scribble pad is an absolute mess, but it's not entirely that way. I do tend to lean towards projects that I find emotionally attached to. I try and play a lot of stuff. I try and do a lot of stuff that, if I actually gave a shit about progressing on Twitch would make sense, but I don't, because it's not projects that interest me. I'm getting there, but not yet. Also, nice Back to the Future channel. When planning something, I prefer to set the goal and then outline a plan that will help me reach it, or stick with the plan I'm already comfortable with without experimenting for the sake of it. When planning, do you prefer to stick with what you already know works? Kinda. Usually, yeah. I don't understand why these two are pitted against each other, because these seem like very unrelated issues, but between these two, yeah, I tend to prefer sticking with things that make sense and that I already know works. Buff Buff Kangaroo on Roar TV. When helping someone else with a problem, I tend to analyze it impartially and see how its elements are connected to each other, or I focus on moral implications and how I would react if I was in the same situation. So would I look at the project logically and break it down, or how would I feel to be in their shoes? Probably realistically, probably over here. Real talk. If I try and help someone with a problem, I would try and say, what would I do? What if that were me, how would I handle that? Is typically how I deal with things. For me, justice happens when a situation is judged impartially and impersonally. Everyone should receive equal treatment in accordance to this judgment. Or a common ground is found and everyone's needs are respected. Who are you? What? No. Justice is impartial. Justice is fair. No, I don't. That doesn't make sense. No, everybody should be treated fairly. Everybody should have the same opportunities. When brainstorming, same opportunities, same judgment, same everything. People are people. When brainstorming, I prefer to explore alternatives without worrying about changing directions if I find a more interesting one. Or I focus on a single direction, being conscious of alternatives but letting them align to my original intention. When I brainstorm, which I don't do enough, but when I brainstorm, I tend to open myself up to a lot of different ideas. For the most part, like 90%. Like if say I'm thinking of what am I going to be doing for September, for example, or spooky month, I will open myself up to what options are possibly available. That's usually how I'll work things. What's on the surface hides a deeper meaning to be discovered, or often includes smaller details most might miss. I think Warp's right. I think this is translated from another language, because some of these just do not quite track. Like, they don't mesh with each other very well. What's on the surface, I think I'm very cynical. So I tend to think that usually what's on the surface of a situation, there's something else. There's usually something else hiding under the surface of most situations. My observation goes from the particular to the general, When I observe things, I go from small things to big things in many directions, or from lots of possibilities to one clear conclusion. Small things to big things in many directions. This one, I'm not clear on this one, on either of these explanations. I go from lots of possibilities to one clear conclusion. I guess more towards this direction, but I'm not fully clear on what they're asking here. My personal values come from inside, and then I relate them to the external world, or objective and universal standards that acquire a special meaning to me. I think once I hit the 40 mark, I might need to switch to a different quiz for a little while. We might need a break from whatever's happening on this quiz, because I think the quiz creator has lost the thread. My personal values come from deep inside, and then I relate them to the world, or universal values that I later give personal meaning to. My personal values come from inside me, definitely. For the most part. Like, most of the things that were universal standards of the world, universal values of the world, that doesn't really trigger much with me. It has to go through the filter of, does that make sense to me? Is usually how most of my personal values are these days. When making a collective decision, I prioritize logical arguments over collective consensus, or collective consensus over minor logical arguments. What? In group decisions, I care more about what makes logical sense or on what most people agree on. Who gives a shit on what other people agree on? I care about what makes sense. If 15 people say that a brick tastes good, and then they bite it and they all break their teeth, you have 15 stupid people. That doesn't make it make sense. I feel more comfortable with direct experience or mental abstraction. I feel more comfortable with direct experience. Maybe a little bit of mental abstraction, but for the most part, yeah, direct experience. When helping someone, I try to offer practical solutions, believing it's the best way to help, or I put myself in the other people's shoes. Didn't they already ask this? I guess it's a little different. This one, I think Kitty would say that I try to be practical. I definitely do the typical guy thing. It's like, well, if you're asking me, weren't you asking for a solution, sort of thing? It's like, no, sometimes people just want to be listened to, and that's unfortunately a bad habit of mine. I like to fix problems. What's closer to your way of developing ideas? Everything is open to new interpretations, or I prefer to stick to a fixed point and eventually start from it. I prefer sticking to one idea and starting from there. Not really. Everything is sort of open to new interpretations. Everything is different in the world. Everything changes in the world. Yeah. Well, I try not to, Kitty. I try to be a good listener. During a discussion, I tend to set aside personal preferences to meet other points of view, or say what I think regardless of other points of view. I definitely depends on who I'm talking to. I tend to be pretty brusque when it comes to my points of view. Like, I will say what I think in most situations, but I do put some preferences. I do have some preferences that I will take into account. Let's take a little break from from this particular quiz. We'll come back to it. I need to not see it anymore. Where's my boop? There we go. Let's come back to the cognitive quiz. Let's for just a few minutes. Let's take the D&D alignment test, and let's see what form of D&D character I am, because honestly, that test is way more taxing than I thought it would be. So, family elders are expressing disapproval of you to the rest of the family. Do you Here are the options. Accept the criticism and change my ways, seek a compromise with them, besmirch the reputation of those expressing disapproval as you ignore their scorn. Family elders. Probably, definitely not the first two. Honestly, probably this one. Probably this one. I mean, am I playing Skyrim? Yeah, I'm shutting them up. Would you give up a promising career to aid the family in time? No. No. Are we playing D&D, or is this real life? Like, no, I'm not giving up a promising career to aid a family. Nope. Would you betray a family member to advance your own career? Now, conversely, I'd resist the temptation. Who's the family member? I might do it secretly. I might do it secretly. Who's the family member? It depends. Do you respect the leaders of your family? What, Sprawl? I'm sorry, didn't the test say to be honest? Do you respect the leaders of your family? Sure, I guess. They're often out of touch with my life, but that's sort of arbitrary there. It's somewhere in between these two. If your family had arranged your marriage to someone loathsome, I guess I would work against the union, definitely. It probably, yeah, somewhere between these two. Kitty is the leader. Her words guide your actions. Kitty and I are a partnership. We are a union of souls. We are a union of souls. I think that Roar TV explains it best. It's something like this. I hope this helps explain it. He technically is the leader of our household. I will not disagree with Kitty or agree with Kitty in any way, but we are equal. That I will agree with. You're estranged from a family member. On his deathbed, he seeks reconciliation. Do you speak to him but hold your ground? Actively seek reconciliation. Discuss your estrangement openly and without rancor. I would speak to him but hold my ground. A corrupt but powerful judge offers you wealth if you'll testify against your friend. I would... We're playing D&D, right? These are so arbitrary. I think I would probably refuse to testify. My word is my bond. Couldn't figure out what country mistype investigator was from, but the first Google was mistype. Whatever, we'll get into first test. I didn't finish it. And frankly, the more I take this other test, the more I don't really want to go back to that test because it was really boring. Do you become close to friends or hold people at a safe distance? I have a few close friends. Have you ever betrayed a friend? In my whole life? In my character? No. No. I don't betray. I'm not a betrayal. I'm not a betrayer. I don't betray people. How do you view lifelong commitment to a single romantic partner? I have or want such a romance. I mean, are we talking in the game? Yeah, I would want to have such a romance. I have one now, but I don't know if we're talking real or not. Roar betrays you constantly? Not true. I said I was going to play D&D years ago. Well, I need to make a character sheet. Do we need to, like, build a character sheet night? Do I need to put that on the schedule at some point? Do you insist on repayment? When lending money to friends? I mean, yeah. but I'm pretty flexible about it. Like if I'm in D&D, like, yeah, give me my gold back, please. Please. Are you still in touch with childhood friends? No, not really. Not at all. Building a character is the first session of playing D&D. You do it as a group. I actually have a, I bought that Aliens game that Feelanoid was talking about in a little while. We don't have money to give. I mean, that's the first problem. Do you donate time and money to improve the local community? Okay, again, like, your character's belief. Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Do I donate? No. Piss off. Your community is threatened with invasion. Do you? Probably flee the city. I'm not going to act as a spy, but I will probably flee the city. If you are injured and require immediate assistance, would members of your hometown agree to help? Probably not. No. Probably not. Realistically speaking, no. Do you respect the laws and authorities of the community? When it suits me, yeah. But there are some laws that I don't agree with. Do members of your hometown shun, mock, or avoid me? No. No. Maybe some do, I guess. But no, for the most part, not really. Do you would I stand for office or seek to represent the interests of the community? Good Christ, no. No, absolutely not. Your country is racked with famine. Would you? I wouldn't steal. Or I wouldn't steal and then sell it back at a high price. I'd probably steal what I needed to survive. If offered enough money, would you slip a poison into the king's drink? Yeah. Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Definitely. A plague is sweeping across your country. Would I avoid contact with the sick, most likely. Maybe flee the country, but probably just avoid contact with the sick. Do you respect the lawful authority of the rulers of the land? No. Rulers are invariably corrupted by power. If you were offered a reasonably lucrative deal, would you spy on a hostile foreign power? For my country? Yeah, because the nation's secrets mean little to me. Although, no, I might get caught, actually, most likely. Realistically, it's not because I am, I don't want to violate the trust, but I would be worried about being caught by the state more than anything. Do I rely on the government to enforce contracts and property rights? Government can't even pave roads. No hesitation. If imprisoned, would you injure or kill others to escape? My character? Yeah. Yeah, they knew the risks. They knew the risks. Do you accept a noble's right to treat badly the No. No one has the right to treat anybody badly. No one has the right to treat anyone badly. You have accidentally committed a crime. Do I not turn myself in? Not turn myself in. Try and pin the crime on another, somebody who sucks, most likely. What about Job? No one has the right. Well, I'm not here to, cast judgment on the Almighty. Let's say that. If guilty, would you confess to a crime? No. Nah, they can prove it. Would you express a revolutionary political opinion if threatened with punishment? No. No, I would talk to friends, yeah, but no, in typical, no. When traveling, you witness an assault. You are ordered to testify, which will delay your travel significantly. Do I deny I saw anything, remain reluctantly, testify and leave, remain until the trial's conclusion, or slip out of town? Probably remain reluctantly and then leave. Written with puns. What's the best use of wealth? To provide the needs of friend and family, to stay on top of the heap yourself, to stay on top of the heap, realistically. When confronted with beggars, ignore them. When using magic, do you fool village merchants into thinking your copper... Excuse me. When using magic, you could fool village merchants into thinking your copper pieces were made of gold. Do you? Yes, but only cheat the rich merchants. Yeah, definitely. Wow, Roar. Oh, I'm sorry. Every time you walk into into the Skyrim city of Whiterun, and you see a beggar standing there, you give them a septum a time. Every time you give a purified water to the guy outside of Rivet City. I'm sure you don't ignore them. You have 2 job offers. One pays more, but the other is steady and secure. Which do you do? Definitely the more lucrative job. Yeah. In the game, yeah. What's the best path to wealth? The best path to wealth. It's a matter of luck. Being in the right place at the right time, probably. If you accepted a job or contract, would you try and finish the task even if it got much more dangerous? My word is my bond. Yeah, honestly, if I agree to do something, typically I'll try to do it. I am neutral evil? A neutral evil villain does whatever he can get away with. He is out for himself, pure and simple. He sheds no tears. He sheds no tears for those he kills, whether for profit, sport, or convenience. He has no love of order and holds no illusion that following laws, traditions, or codes would make him more better or more noble. On the other hand, he doesn't have the restless nature or love of conflict that a chaotic evil villain has. Some neutrally evil villains hold up the evil as an ideal, committing evil for its own sake. Most often, such villains are devoted to evil deities or secret societies. Neutral evil is the best alignment you can be, because you can advance yourself without regard for others. However, neutral evil can be a dangerous alignment, because it represents pure evil without honor. How? What do you mean? I answered like 4 of those that needed honor. Killing them means you're not ignoring them? I don't know about this one. I don't know about this one. The breakdown of my picks. So it's saying that I got equal points for neutral and chaotic evil? I don't know about this. I guess I was definitely just evil straight up. Where's Imgur? I don't know about this. I don't know about this one. Let me put this in the... That's not the right... Not the right one. Let's put that there. There we go. All right. Well, I have that at least. That was the alignment test. This is the psychopath test, apparently. Let's start the test of the psychopath test. Now, this one I am answering as myself. The last one was for, you know, it was for games. This one is for me. Didn't take the 1,000-question kink quiz. I'm not going to take the kink quiz on stream. You rarely catch me making plans. I'm far too spontaneous. I disagree. 1,000% disagree. I have no problem cheating on my partner. 1,000% disagree. Even if I knew I can get away with it, 1,000% disagree. If I got a better offer, I wouldn't mind canceling long-standing plans. Mostly disagree. I don't get bothered by... strongly disagree. Jesus fucking Christ. By seeing animals injured or in pain? Holy God. It would be fun to drive fast cars, ride roller coasters, and go skydiving. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I agree. I think it's okay to step over other people to achieve my own ambitions. I disagree. I'm very persuasive, and getting people to do what I want is a real talent of mine. Disagree. I wish it was. My ability to make quick decisions means I would suit a dangerous job. Disagree. Disagree. Cry about animals like me. I don't know if I don't cry about them. It's rare that I actually cry. Not because it's any, guys don't cry or anything. I just don't really. When people around me are crumbling under pressure, I'm usually the one with a cool head. Kinda, yeah, because I just usually give less of a shit than other people. When someone gets conned, who cares? They were asking for it. Hard disagree. I'm rarely to blame for things going wrong. It's usually the fault of people around me. I'd agree. While I calculate the results, please tell us a bit about yourself. Sure. I'm male. I'm 40 years old. My occupation... What would I even put here? Training? Public relations? No. Machinist. I don't even know what I would consider myself in all these. Civil servant? No. Entertainment? There isn't even an entertainment option. Hotel? Hey, hotel. Yay, there we go. Good call. Thank you. Prefer not to say. I'm not going to say my income. Education, I have a undergraduate degree. My favorite news source, I don't read the news. My favorite animal is... Who's saying piranha? Are we still doing the test? I'll say a puppy. Actually, no, I'll say a kitty. I'll say a kitty cat. My favorite music out of all of these is probably dance, I guess. I have a bachelor's. Isn't that an undergraduate? Or higher education? What does an undergraduate mean? Also, I didn't even turn on my bots today. We don't have bots. I thought the bots were being real quiet. Here you go. You get in here, you get in here, and you get in here. There we go. I think it counts as undergraduate? Yeah. Anyways, I was going to ask, what is an undergraduate in college terms? Yeah, right? Something like that. That's definitely not a master's. All right, next. Am I a psycho or not? I need to know if I'm a psycho or not. It's not going to tell me if I'm a psycho. Are any of the tests going to give me actual results? The last one did, I guess. View latest results. Hold on, go back. Hi, butt spot. Game over. Try this again. Oh god. Disagree. Disagree. Slight disagree. Hard disagree. Hard agree. Hard disagree. Hard disagree. Slight agree. Hard disagree. I don't even know why I'm taking this. It's definitely... I don't think I'm a psychopath. Please make sure I've selected something for each drop down. I did. I did. Alright, hold on. I'm gonna blur it. What if I just put in a number? It made me put in an income? Or maybe I have to do something. No, it's just not going to work. Okay, we're just not going to get an answer today. We're just not going to get an answer of any of these quizzes. Let's watch this, because I'm getting annoyed at these quizzes. Let's watch this as a sort of aperitif. This is called De Blau Mortier. You posted one? Where is... Oh, I was in the wrong channel. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Let's take a look at this thing. Isn't this thing sick? I forgot about that guy. I forgot about the guy that's just standing there watching it the whole time. This guy's hard focused. Grandpa, you're gonna want to move back, buddy. What? Okay, that was all. I just wanted to see that for a few minutes. What did you post? What is this? Hold on, let me copy this. I wonder if this one will actually let me take the test. This is a intentionally streamlined and limited to creating a common character type. Get started. What in the fuck? What are you supposed to do with this? Pick your clan. Does it matter? Like, pick whichever one I would want to pick. Whichever one's the best. I gotta pick one of the vampire houses. Beast-like and close to nature, rebels who always fight against the power, illusionists who are always on the move. I'd probably go with the Beast clan. The one that uses wolves. I'd probably pick the Gangrel clan. Pick my strongest attribute. Strength. Pick my weakest attribute. Dexterity. Pick medium attributes. Intelligence. And charisma. And resolve. Oh, Jesus. Pick my skill distribution. I don't even know what any of this shit is. Okay. Okay, I'm okay. I think I'm going to take the 16 personalities quiz instead. Do I need to do anything premium to do this? Let's see. I think this one might be similar to the first one we did, but it doesn't suck quite as badly. I regularly make new friends. Disagree. Complex and novel ideas. We're going to do blitz mode on this one. Complex and novel ideas excite you more than straightforward and simple ones. Slight disagree. Simple ones are fine. You usually feel more persuaded by what resonates emotionally than by factual arguments. This is similar to what we did before. Hard disagree. Your living and working spaces are clean and disorganized. Mostly disagree. You usually stay calm even under a lot of pressure. Agree. You find the idea of networking or promoting yourself to strangers very daunting. Hard agree. You prioritize and plan tasks effectively, often completing them well before the deadline. Hard, mostly disagree. People's stories and emotions speak louder to you than numbers or data. Mostly neutral on that one. You like to use organizing tools like schedules or lists. Slight agree. I like to use them, but I don't. Even a small mistake can cause you to doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. Slight agree. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking a conversation. Hard disagree. You are not too interested in discussions about various interpretations of creative works. How many spoiler streams have I done? Mostly hard disagree. You prioritize facts over people's feelings when determining a course of action. Mostly agree. You often allow the day to unfold without any schedule at all. Unfortunately, slight agree. Slight agree on that one. You rarely worry about whether you would make a good impression on people you meet. Is this one going to be a long test too? At least this one's better than the first one. That first one sucks. You rarely worry about whether you'll make a good impression on people you meet. Mostly agree. You enjoy participating in team-based activities. Hard disagree. You enjoy experimenting with new and untested approaches. Mostly disagree. You prioritize being sensitive over being completely honest. Depends on the subject. I'm going to stay neutral on that one. We're already at 30. Not too bad. You actively seek out new experiences. I don't really have a lot to wax poetic about on these, to be honest. These aren't really hard questions. You actively seek out new experiences and knowledge areas to explore. Very much agree. You are prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worse. Strong agree. Not super hard. You enjoy solitary hobbies or activities more than group ones. Strong agree. You cannot imagine yourself writing fictional stories for a living. Horse shit, this is on the actual test. Strong disagree. You favor efficiency in decisions, even if it means disregarding some emotional aspects. Hard agree. You prefer to do your chores before allowing yourself to relax. Stay neutral on that one. Really depends on the situation. In disagreements, you prioritize proving your point over preserving the feelings of others. Strong agree. You usually wait for others to introduce themselves first at social gatherings. Strong agree. Your mood can change very quickly. Extremely hard agree. You are not easily swayed by emotional arguments. Hard disagree, unfortunately. I'm pretty naive like that. You often end up doing things at the last possible moment. It depends. Not really. Slight disagree. You enjoy debating ethical dilemmas. Strong agree. You usually prefer to be around others rather than your own. Own what? Than by yourself? Mostly hard disagree. You become bored or lose interest when the discussion gets highly theoretical. Strong disagree. When facts and feelings conflict, you usually find yourself following your heart. I'd agree with that, I guess. Kinda. Not really. Slight agree. You find it challenging to maintain a consistent work or study schedule. Strong agree. You rarely second guess the choices you've made. Strong disagree. You missed it. Was Roar a psychopath? It didn't work. The quiz broke. It didn't work. We tried it twice. Your friends would describe you as lively and outgoing. Guys, would you describe me as lively and outgoing? I'd like to think no. Lively? I think that my friends who know me would know that other than the stream, yeah, I'm not outgoing. No. You are drawn to maybe outgoing, deadly outgoing. You are in bed. I don't have any buttons for this. Okay. Wildly inappropriate button. You're really good in bed. Okay. You are drawn to various forms of creative expression, such as writing. Strong agree. You usually base your choices on objective facts rather than emotional impressions. Strong agree. You like to have a to-do list for each day. Very hard disagree. You rarely feel insecure. Insecure. How would you define insecure? Like, I don't think so. I'm looking up insecure. It's giving me a drama of Insecure. It had 5 seasons. Insecure definition. Not firmly fixed, not confident or assured. Do I feel uncertain, anxious? I mean, I have anxiety. I don't think I'd go neutral on this. I think I'd go neutral on secure, because for the most part, I feel pretty confident in most things. Issa and Molly. I don't know who Issa and Molly are. I avoid making phone calls. Extremely hard agree. You enjoy exploring unfamiliar ideas and viewpoints. Strong agree. You can easily, this quiz is way quicker than the first one. You can easily watch this quiz not give us the option to actually get the results. I might actually break something. You can easily connect with people you just met. You might disagree with me here, but I'm going to give that one an agree. If a slight agree. I can easily connect if I choose to. I'm going to do neutral. I typically don't, but I can connect. Like when it comes to being at like Disney per se, I can chat up the mouse like the best of them. If your plans are interrupted, your top priority is to get back on track as soon as possible. For the most part, yeah. I would say a slight agree on that one. Not my top priority, but it is a priority. You are still bothered by mistakes you made a long time ago. Yes. While I don't believe in regret, I still am annoyed by things. You are not too interested in discussing theories on what the world could look like in the future. I would mostly disagree with that. I like hearing about where people might go in the future. Now, when it comes to existentialism, when it comes to bad things, not so much. Your emotions control you more than you control them. I would give that a slight agree. Very, very slight. I think it's closer to neutral, but if I'm going to be honest, I think I agree. When making decisions, you focus more on how the affected people might feel than what is most logical or efficient. Very hard disagree. I hate inefficiency. I can own a room when I need to, but I'm very introverted. Agree, Kitty. You are correct. This cruise show can go. There are way better ones. Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than organized and consistent efforts. I would agree with that 1,000%. When someone thinks of you, you wonder how long it will feel to feel. What the hell? When someone thinks highly of you, you wonder how long it will take them to feel disappointed in you. Yeah. Sometimes, yeah. I would say that. Not every time, but sometimes. You would love a job that requires you to work alone most of the time. Hell yes. Holy shit. I like being, now not all of the time, but most of the time, yeah. I could definitely work by myself. You believe that pondering abstract philosophical questions is a waste of time. Hard disagree. You feel more drawn to busy, bustling atmospheres than to quiet, intimate places. Mostly extremely hard disagree. I like quiet, intimate places. Giggity. If a decision feels right to you, you often act on it without needing further proof. Slight disagree on that. I can be impulsive, but I do like having proof before I act. You often feel overwhelmed. Often? I don't know about often. I would agree, but not all the time. Actually, I would say neutral. I would say I'm very whelmed a lot of the time. but not overwhelmed. You complete things methodically without skipping over any steps. I'm gonna say disagree. I have a tendency to skip steps sometimes. You prefer tasks that require you to come up with creative solutions rather than follow concrete steps. I'd agree with that. You often feel underwhelmed, and sometimes I'm underwhelmed. Sometimes you can be any sorts of whelmed. Any Sorts of Whelmed is the name of my new Irish folk band. You are more likely to rely on emotional intuition than logical reasoning when making a choice. I think I had this question on the other quiz. I would disagree with this one. You struggle with deadlines. I would agree with that one. You feel confident that things will work out for you. I would agree with that one. Choose my gender. Male. All right. Let's see. Let's see what our results are. I am a logician. I'm an INTPNT. As that, you possess a unique blend of intellectual curiosity, analytical prowess, and a penchant for abstract thinking. Excuse me. Your mind is a playground of ideas, constantly exploring complex concepts and seeking to understand the underlying principles of the world around you. You approach life with a rational, logical mindset, preferring to rely on facts and reason rather than emotions or conventional wisdom. Your insatiable thirst for knowledge drives you to delve deep into subjects that capture your interest. You're not content with surface knowledge level understanding. Instead, you strive to grasp the intricacies of systems and theories, often developing innovative solutions to complex problems. I think this is the most common one. Oh my God. I'm 93% introverted. That's really funny. I'm 77% intuitive. Yeah, that's pretty aggressively introverted. Yeah, I would agree with that. My career path. Scientific research, software development, or philosophical inquiry. No, well, whole lot of no's on all of that. So let me put that in here. I'm an INT. Where is the thing? INT logistician. Put that into Discord. Wherever Discord is, there it is. Boop, boop, boop. What was that? Seeing the what is ESTJ? What's the ESTJ personality? It's super low. Executive? Extroverted? Oh, so these are the people who go run companies. Gotcha. I don't think I'm that. All right, psychopath test is a bust. This is the ADHD test. Please answer these questions below. How often have I had trouble wrapping up the final details of a project once the challenging parts have been done? Not really. Pretty rarely, actually. Once the challenging parts are done, I don't like leaving things unfinished. How often do you have difficulty getting things in order when you have a task that requires organization? Very often. Pretty often. How often do you have problems remembering appointments or obligations? Sometimes. When you have a task that requires a lot of thought, how often do you avoid or delay getting started? Sometimes. How often do you fidget or squirm with your hands or feet when you have to sit down for a long time? I don't really fidget with my fingers. Like the most like with my feet or anything like that. Like I will tend to actually I take that back. I do tend to mess with my fingernails. Like I will like do my fingernail, like trim them back when I'm sitting for a long time if I don't like have my phone to mess with. So I will say sometimes on, or actually I'll say often on that. How often do you feel overly active and compelled to do things, like you were driven by a motor? Pretty rarely. How often do you make careless mistakes when you have to work on a boring or difficult project? Sometimes. How often do you have difficulty keeping your attention when doing boring or repetitive work? Rarely. I can usually focus in pretty hard, especially if I have music. How often do you have difficulty concentrating on what people say to you, even when they are speaking to you directly? Pretty rarely. I'd say never on that. Well, I'd say rarely. How often do you misplace or have difficulty finding things at home or work? Pretty often, actually, all the time. How often are you distracted by noise or activity around me? All the goddamn time. That's why I'm in the closet. How often do you leave your seat in meetings or other situation when you're expected to remain seated? Sometimes. Rarely. I don't really try to leave meetings too often, especially when they're small meetings. How often do I feel restless or fidgety? Sometimes. How often do you have difficulty unwinding and relaxing when you have time to yourself? Oh, pretty rarely. I'm pretty. It's not that hard to find time to just sort of chill. How often do you find yourself talking too much when you're in social situations? Sometimes. But pretty rarely, actually, unless it's with like Kitty. When you're in a conversation, how often do you find yourself finishing the sentences of the people you're talking to before they can finish themselves? That has started happening to me a lot. Not all the time, but I've started to get, I don't know if it's impatience or what, but I've started to get straight up quick with people when they are like I'm just guessing what they're going to say. So I'm going to say sometimes on that one. How often do you have difficulty waiting your turn in situations when turn taking is required? Pretty rarely. If it's like unless I'm waiting in like traffic, that's a different story. But like if I'm waiting at like a doctor's office, as long as everything is how it's supposed to be, and I know how long I have to wait, I'm okay. How often do you interrupt others when they are busy? I try not to. I try not to, honestly. Just in general. Okay. It needs all of my information. I'm taking this for myself. My age range is old, male, white. I'm not going to answer that one. I live in the U.S. You don't get any of that. Which of the following populations describes me? None. No, you don't get any of that information. View results. ADHD unlikely? Really? I was kind of expecting I mean, obviously it's a online test, so it's not a designation, not a proper actual result, but it's good to know. Let me put this in the archive. All right, what else do we got? Next we have this is the 1900 Park Fair Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo Big Bertha pipe organ. Listen to this fucking thing. I never noticed the little figure doing the baton waving. Okay, the clapping's not necessary. Everyone's in there just trying to eat their strawberry soup. Impossible to tune them. Yeah, I'm not at privilege to say the estimated to fix this thing. So until then, it's gonna sound like this. Okay, that's enough. That's enough of that. Holy shit, there's still like 30 seconds left. This is the fear of heights test. I'll be answering a clinical test of 10 questions. All right, let's. Which of these situations gives you anxiety or makes you feel uncomfortable? Being near a ledge? No. Seeing down a ledge? No. Knowing or being aware that you're at a significant height? No. Being several stories high with no railing? No. Being several stories high with a railing? No. No. Okay. Please make a selection. None. None of them. Is there an option for none of them? Yeah, I don't get to pick. None of them make me feel anxiety. None. Okay. I think this thing is trash. I think this thing is garbage. All of these tests are terrible because the movie Over the Hedge. Okay, what if I just do other? None. Okay. I have a feeling this is going to just end up being a advertisement at the end of this. Some situations regarding heights feel scarier than others. In what situations does your anxiety increase? Looking out a window, glass elevators, crossing a bridge, stairs. None of these either. I have a feeling I don't have acrophobia. How am I feeling right now? Yeah, I'm good. Have you felt moments of fear in situations when thinking about heights? I mean, no. If I felt anxious, worried, or nervous about a situation where heights could be involved. I mean on a plane, but that's more because of the plane than anything. Have I had thoughts of being injured, being overcome with fear, or other bad things while thinking about heights? No, not really. Have I felt? No, not about. I haven't felt any of that about heights. No. Have I avoided a situation where I thought there could be a chance of encountering heights? No. Have I moved away from a situation where I was required to go near heights? No. Have I spent a lot of time preparing for or procrastinating about a situation encountering heights? No. Have I distracted myself to avoid thinking about heights? No. Have I needed help to cope with a situation involving heights? Are they going to send me an email? I'm not giving them my email address. I'm just going to assume I don't have a fear of heights. What is this one? This is called monotropism. Does that sound familiar? I think this might be some form of like autism test, but I'm not 100% what. I don't know what monotropism is. But let's take it. These quizzes are garbage. They kind of are, yeah. Do I have any that don't suck? I did the mental health one. I'm not going back to this one. I'm just going to X out of that one. And I don't feel like taking the this other quiz. Let's take this monotropism test. Sometimes making a decision is so hard that I get physically stuck. No. You'd be surprised at how many bad quizzes there are. There are lots of bad quizzes, and there are way worse quizzes than the ones I found. I sometimes focus on an incident for a substantial. I'm kind of thinking I might want to add like a channel for submissions, like when I have something specific, but I don't need another channel just to not be used. So I'm like, if it's not going to get used, I'm not going to add it. I sometimes focus on an incident for a substantial amount of time after the event. Kinda. Sometimes. I have trouble filtering out sounds when I'm not doing something I'm focused on. Sometimes. I usually mean what I say and no more than that. Usually. People tell me I get fixated on things. I'd agree with that. I need a quiet and predictable environment for me to switch from one task to another easily. I disagree. Monotropism is an individual's tendency. I don't want to read this. I'm gonna have the bot read it. I've been reading so much. Here, I'm gonna have the bot do it.
Monotropism is an individual's tendency to focus their attention on a small or singular number of interests at any time, with them neglecting or not perceiving lesser interests. This cognitive strategy has been posited as a central underlying feature of autism. Point 3.
Point 3. Thank you. When there is a lot of information to consider, I often struggle to make a decision. Not really. I often engage in lengthy discussions on topics I find interesting, even though my conversational partners do not. Yep. Sometimes when I'm focused on an activity, I do not recall all the information I might need to make good decisions. Sometimes. I'm usually passionate about a few topics at any one time in my life. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'm usually working on like one passion project. I find a problem I can't solve distressing and hard to put down. Not really. No. I sometimes become highly anxious by focusing on the many possible situations that may occur at a future date. No, not really. Often when I'm focused on activities, I do not notice I need the bathroom. No, not really at all. I'm very hyper-focused, usually on my bladder. I'm getting very tired of these questions. Let's finish this quiz, and I might need to go give my wife a kiss and eat some pie. These quizzes have been such a complete fucking failure. I find sudden, unexpected disruptions to my attention startling. Yes. When I am interested in a topic, I like to learn everything I can about that topic. I'd agree with that, but not a strong agree. I often get stuck thinking about all the possibilities that may come of a decision. No, didn't I already answer that? When I'm interested in something, I tend to be passionate about it. I already did Harry Potter house quizzes. Aren't I a Hufflepuff dolphin or something along those lines? Tomorrow night, and by tomorrow night I mean Saturday, we'll be continuing the Bluey season tier list. I'm looking forward to that. A lot of good episodes in season 2. When I'm interested in something, I tend to be passionate about it. Strong agree. I'm often totally focused in activities I'm passionate about to the point I'm unaware of other events. I disagree. Which house in Game of Thrones are you? There are different houses? Which house has the boobs? I often notice details that others do not. I would disagree with that. I'll do neutral on that one. I often notice details. I tend to be quite self-conscious unless I'm absorbed in a task. Disagree. I rarely find myself getting stuck in loops of thought. I would agree with that. Never seen it. Okay, Buttsbot, you're supposed to be at like a 0.2% to go off. You're going nuts, my guy. I can sometimes be distressed by a topic that others think is trivial. I'd agree with that. I am still fascinated by the things I was when I was much younger. Disagree. Well, I would go neutral on that, actually. I often loop back to previous thoughts. I'd agree with that. I rarely find simultaneously holding eye contact and making verbal conversation with another person uncomfortable. I would agree with that. Well, I mean, look at my... Let's be honest, like, look at Roar TV. Okay, this is a bad example, but look at Roar TV as a collection of all the things I was interested in when I was younger or as an adult. It's like my own personal treasure trove of things that I find interesting. So I mean, yeah, a lot of it, I have like Land Before Time stuff in there. After a period of instability, I need a quiet and predictable environment. Disagree. Routines provide an important source of stability and safety. Agree. I sometimes accidentally say something others find offensive when I'm focused on a task. I would disagree with that. I often find it difficult to switch topics after engaging in an activity for a long time. Disagree. When I'm working on something, I'm open to helpful suggestions. I still like boobs as much as I used to. Heck yeah, I do. That deserves a bunger.
Bunger? Bunger!
When I'm working on something, I'm open to helpful suggestions. I disagree with that one. I often engage in activities I am passionate about to escape from anxiety. Neutral. When I'm focused on activities, I do not notice I'm hungry or thirsty. Strong disagree. I can get quite good at something even if I'm not especially interested in it. Strong disagree. I don't think I'm going to get a good ranking on this quiz. I often struggle to concentrate in busy or unpredictable environments. I'd agree with that. I often lose sense of time when engaging in activities I am passionate about. Neutral. Usually have a pretty good sense of time. It's distressing to be unexpectedly pulled away from something I'm engaged in. Strongly agree. I find it easy to keep up with group discussions where everyone is speaking. Disagree. I often experience anxiety over matters I have little certainty over. I would strong agree with that. I like having control over things. Involvement in an activity of interest often reduces my anxiety level. I'd agree with that. I find it difficult to engage in a task of no interest to me, even if it's important. Agree. I find social interactions more comfortable if communicating about a topic of interest to me. Definitely agree. I manage uncertainty by creating routines. Agree. I tend to do activities because I find them interesting instead of due to social expectations. Agree. Very much agree. I sometimes avoid talking because I cannot reliably predict how others will react, especially strangers. Not really. I would disagree with that for the most part. I don't mind if someone interrupts me when I'm in the middle of activity. Strong disagree. I often find engaging in stimming, such as fidgeting or rocking, to be relaxing. I'm shaking my feet right now as we talk. I rarely find social situations chaotic. Strong disagree. Let's see how this quiz gets me. I must answer all of them. Which one didn't I answer? Which one didn't I answer? You really aren't going to tell me? Okay, answered. Watch this one not work either. This one doesn't work either. I'm going to be very disappointed. Bye. I am very disappointed. My eyes are going numb looking for this one missing blue ball, if there even is one. Okay, found it.
I am very disappointed. Bye.
I find it difficult to engage in a task. I answered this. I find it difficult to engage in a task of no interest or importance, even if it's important. Yes, strong agree. I find social, so yeah, stronger. I guess I missed. What? What does this mean? My monotropism score is 160 out of 235. This score suggests that I'm more monotropic than about 2% of autistic people and about... I don't know what it's trying to say. I don't know what it's trying to say, so I'm going to put it in I'm going to put it in Discord and look at it later. All these quizzes are making me very tired. Let's look at the Florida Carillon Festival. I laughed so hard today. So this is up at the very top of Bok Tower in Florida. So the very top of Bok Tower, there's a bell tower where some dude can sit and play the bells. And the cacophony that comes out of this doodad after all this pomp and circumstance of setting up this camera made me laugh so hard earlier. How do you even know if you're hitting the right notes? Like, what is he even playing? That's all I wanted to see there. I am suddenly very tired after all of that. Your cousin was in a car accident, you gotta go. That's okay, I'm going too. I'm sorry, tell your cousin I said, get better, feel better. Oh, that was fun. I was done anyways. That was exciting. We're going to bed now. And by that I mean, we're going to come back on Saturday. I might do something tomorrow. We'll see. Happy early birthday to Sprawl, in case I don't get to say it tomorrow. That said, that's a tomorrow problem. Tonight, I'm going to bed. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for learning about things. Thanks for doing a lot of questions and quiz problems. We'll do Bluey next time, or possibly something tomorrow. Who knows? Bye! Love you! Mwah!
I want to let you folks know you've been a lousy audience. So get lost. See you later.